What happens when an undercover CEO orders a meal at his diner and stops when he hears the waiter crying in the kitchen? Let's dive to see. In the bustling heart of Chicago, there was a man named Calvin Reed. He wasn't just any man. He owned one of the most successful restaurant chains across America. But what made Calvin unique wasn't his wealth or success. It was his humility. Every year during the holiday season, Calvin would visit one of his diners unannounced. He'd dress casually, blend into the crowd, and observe how things ran from the perspective of a regular customer. It kept him grounded and reminded him why he started this business in the first place: to bring joy through good food and service. This particular evening, Calvin walked into Reed's Diner, located on Maple Street. The place buzzed with energy. Laughter echoed through the dining area. Plates clinked as they were served, and the smell of freshly baked bread filled the air. No one recognized him as their boss. To everyone, he was just another patron wearing a simple sweater and jeans. He slid into a booth by the window, picked up the menu, and scanned it carefully. His eyes landed on the grilled chicken sandwich, a classic favorite among customers. As he waited for his order, Calvin noticed something unusual. A young waiter, introduced later as Marcus, seemed unusually quiet compared to the rest of the staff. There was a heaviness in his steps, a sadness in his voice whenever he spoke to guests. Minutes passed, and soon Marcus approached Calvin's table. "Evening, sir," Marcus said softly, placing a glass of water down. "What can I get you?" Calvin smiled warmly. "The grilled chicken sandwich sounds perfect." "Oh, and could you make sure it comes extra crispy? Thanks." Marcus nodded politely before turning away. But as soon as he disappeared behind the swinging doors leading to the kitchen, Calvin heard it, a faint sound that pierced through the lively atmosphere. Crying. Someone was sobbing quietly in the kitchen. Calvin froze mid-sip of his water. Was it Marcus, or someone else? Curiosity tugged at him, but so did concern. Instead of dismissing it as none of his business, Calvin decided to investigate further. After all, if there was trouble brewing within his own establishment, he needed to know about it. So, after paying for his meal, which arrived exactly as requested, Calvin lingered near the restroom, pretending to check his phone while waiting for Marcus to return. When Marcus finally reappeared, carrying a tray loaded with desserts, Calvin stopped him gently. "Hey Marcus, right?" he asked, using a calm tone. "Is everything okay back there? I thought I heard, well, never mind." Marcus hesitated, glancing nervously around before lowering his voice. "It's nothing, sir, just personal stuff. Nothing to worry about." But Calvin could tell it wasn't nothing. There was pain etched into Marcus's face, even though he tried hard to hide it. And then came the first twist, a revelation that shook both men deeply. "You don't have to keep it bottled up," Calvin urged. "If there's anything we can do to help." Marcus looked startled, almost panicked. "We? Who are you talking about?" Calvin paused, realizing he might have slipped. In that moment, Marcus's expression shifted from confusion to suspicion. Before Calvin could explain himself, Marcus blurted out, "Look, I appreciate your concern, but I already lost my job once because people found out too much about me. Please let it go." Lost his job? Calvin frowned. What did Marcus mean by that? Determined to uncover the truth, Calvin revealed his identity, not as a threat, but as a promise of support. "Marcus, I'm Calvin Reed. This is my diner. Whatever problem you're facing, I want to help solve it." For a brief second, Marcus stared at Calvin like he'd seen a ghost. Then, slowly, the walls crumbled. With trembling hands, Marcus confessed everything. He had been working 2 jobs to pay off medical bills for his younger brother, who suffered from a chronic illness. Recently, however, the stress became overwhelming, and Marcus feared losing both positions due to frequent absences. Hearing this broke Calvin's heart. Here was a man giving his best despite unimaginable challenges, and yet no one had bothered to ask how he was holding up. Inspired by Marcus's resilience, Calvin promised immediate action. Not only would Marcus receive paid time off to focus on his family, but Calvin also pledged financial assistance for his brother's treatment. As days turned into weeks, Marcus proved himself invaluable, not just as an employee, but as a leader among peers. However, the story didn't end there. The second twist emerged months later, during a staff meeting. While reviewing quarterly profits, Calvin discovered something astonishing. Since Marcus joined the team, productivity skyrocketed, morale improved dramatically, and customer satisfaction reached record highs. Addressing the entire staff, Calvin shared these findings aloud. You may not realize it, but Marcus has transformed our workplace culture. His dedication inspires us all. Today, I'm proud to announce that Marcus will take over as assistant manager of this location. Tears welled up in Marcus's eyes as cheers erupted throughout the room. For the first time in years, Marcus felt truly valued, not just as a worker, but as a human being capable of making a difference. As Calvin watched Marcus accept his new role, he reflected on a quote often whispered in tough times. Your struggles today are shaping the person you'll become tomorrow. That night, under the glow of twinkling city lights, Calvin left the diner feeling grateful, not for his success, but for the opportunity to serve others along the way. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.